With all the points and miles travel we do, we are often either booking or thinking about booking a trip. Today, get a sneak peek into the most recent trips we each booked and how we did it. Welcome to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad. We are three moms who've discovered how to leverage credit card welcome offers to get hundreds of thousands of dollars of travel expenses for nearly free. We've used credit card points and miles to take vacations to places like Hawaii, Paris, Greece, Maldives, Japan, and so much more. And the best part, we each still have 800 plus credit scores. Imagine being able to take the vacation of your dreams for nearly free. It's totally possible, and we're here to show you how. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Pam, Alex's mom.
And I'm Jess. Let's talk points. Today, we are talking all about the trips we each most recently booked on points and miles. And also, we are looking ahead to the next trip on our radar to book. So Alex is going to kick us off. And Alex, Pam and I have no idea what trip you most recently booked. So please enlighten us.
I know you guys are going to be so excited. Spoiler alert, they booked the same trip. We're all going together. So I saw an alert from Thrifty Traveler Premium from their email subscription service, which I'll link to that in the show notes. Basically, they send out alerts for all sorts of flight deals, cash points, business class, economy, and we really enjoyed it this year. I think we've each probably booked, altogether, I think we've booked like 3 of their deals, and this was one of them. So they sent an alert out for flights from the U.S. to Spain on Iberia for 34,000 miles each way in business class, which is insane. That's economy prices. That's actually a pretty good economy price, or about average economy price to Europe. And that's for business class. So yeah.
And that is the normal price for these flights. But the deal is it's usually really, really hard to find availability. And so the nice thing about Thrifty Traveler is when they send these alerts out, they also send out all the airports you can fly out of, all the dates that are available. And so you're not sitting there like searching one by one by one. It kind of just has it all there in a list. And so it's really easy to just hurry up and book it.
Yeah. And it is a paid subscription. It's not free, but I feel like if you book one deal, like the time that you will save, if you're somebody who can be flexible, that's just my thing with a lot of these types of services is they're really great. But I know a lot of people, myself included, the majority of the time can't just like pick up and be like, oh, there's a deal on this day for these flights. I'm going to pick up and go. I usually don't have that much flexibility to chase the deals so much as, okay, it's spring break. Here's our date. But sometimes the dates will just work out. They'll work out with dates that, the nice thing, some of these deals. So for example, this one that we all booked is for next spring. And so sometimes I feel like when you hear of these alert services, sometimes they're last minute, and I'm not really a last minute person. And so the fact that I can plan ahead like this is really nice. They sent out this deal through email, and I texted my mom and Jess, and I said, hey, let's go to Spain. Who wants to come? And it took a lot of pulling their teeth and begging them to come with me. Just kidding. They were all like, I'm in. Let's do it. Except my mom was on a flight to Costa Rica, and Jess and I were like, we know she's going to say yes and want to go, but what if she doesn't? And then we transferred all these points over and something doesn't work out, or like we book what would happen is if we had booked the date that we wanted to go and she said, oh, I can't go that day, I have something going on. And then we could cancel and get our points back. But sometimes it takes British Airways. They don't always just show up instantly. So then we'd be waiting for the points to show up, and then all the availability would have been gone. So we were a little stressed because her internet wasn't working on the plane. And Jess and I were like, this isn't like her. She usually she texts back so fast. She must not have internet on this plane. So good news was she got off her flight. She said, yes, that works. We booked them. So the downside was there's only availability for 2 seats on each flight. And obviously there's 3 of us. And so Jess and I are flying out of Dallas to Madrid. And that was 42,500 miles we could have gone out of Boston and paid $34K, but we thought, we'd like to have a little bit more time to enjoy the sea, especially since it's an overnight flight. We can, I don't know, just have more time. The 9,000 more points was worth it for us to be able to experience it for a little bit longer.
I'm not going to lie that the DFW Capital One Lounge also factored into me pushing to fly out of DFW.
Yeah, and I support that. So Jess and I got lumped together because we do the Instagram stuff and the video content. And so we needed to be able to film each other. And sadly, my mom got the oust on that. But you don't mind travel. She doesn't mind traveling by herself. She's a pro.
I really don't mind traveling by myself. I feel like most
Especially too because it's a night flight. We're going to get on our
Right.
planes, eat our food, and go to bed.
That's not a problem. Usually I like to have the single seat. So even if I'm traveling with my husband or my sister, even you guys, I'm sitting there by myself. So I'm fine. I'm good.
And are you flying out of Miami?
I am flying out of Miami, but we all arrive about the same time. So it's great.
So this flight, I know for myself, when I saw it, my mom and I had talked about doing this flight a long time ago. We actually had booked this exact flight for this price in 2020, which obviously didn't happen. And so I had the points just sitting there in my British Airways account. And so when I saw the alert, I was like, finally, we can try this again. And then I heard my mom's like, oh, I'm actually booked that. I have a flight coming home on Iberia later this summer, so I'll get to experience it. Or is it this fall?
Actually, it's in a couple weeks. Coming back from Vienna, I'm on Iberia to Madrid, and then I think I go to JFK.
So then coming home, we're going to fly out of Barcelona to DFW, and that was 51.5 thousand points. That one was a little bit more. We could have just taken the train back to Madrid or something, but we wanted to see Madrid and Barcelona, and this just cuts down on that time a little bit. It just makes it a little bit more relaxing. And then my mom's actually going to stay in I don't know where you're going to end up, Mom. I think my sister might be meeting her.
Part of what, spoiler alert, I'll talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to get into it yet then. So Jess and I will come home, and my mom will be staying and going off on another adventure with my sister. So we booked these flights via British Airways. And like I said, I had the 34,000 miles sitting there. So I only had to transfer a little bit more. And I transferred my points from my American Express account. So points that I'd earned on my business gold and business platinum cards. You also could transfer to British Airways via Capital One or Chase. And then obviously you could book this through Iberia as well. I just find the British Airways site much more easier and a less clunky, which isn't saying much. The British Airways site isn't great either, but Iberia website is real bad. So the nice thing about the Avios program, that's the points currency for British Airways and Iberia and a few others. You can move these points around those different award programs. So that makes it really nice. It makes it really easy to earn Avios as well. So that is how this whole trip came about, was just that alert from the Thrifty Traveler Premium newsletter. And then from there, we got talking about hotels, which we haven't nailed these down quite yet, but we don't go till next spring. So we have plenty of time to figure this all out. But we definitely want to stay at the Thompson Madrid. That's a Category 6 Hyatt property. So 25,000 points per night is the standard pricing.
Well, and it's funny because when Alex sent this text, she said, we just got a deal from Thrifty Traveler. Who wants to go to Madrid? And I think I replied within a minute and said, I want to go to the Thompson Madrid. So this is one of the, I have been dying to go to the Thompson Madrid. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I was like, yes, I want to do that.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it goes with a lot of these types of alert flights like this. The deals don't last, or the availability doesn't last. So you've got to be willing to pull the trigger pretty quickly.
And I think the original date that we wanted to book sold out. I think when you initially sent dates and we were like, yes, that sounds good. And then like an hour later, I went to go check it again, and that date had sold out. So yeah, it's just kind of stressful. Like, it's one of those book now, ask questions later scenarios.
Exactly. So then, like I said, we'll be flying home from Barcelona. So there are a couple different options that we will be discussing with each other and figuring out what we want to do. There's a Grand Hyatt Barcelona or a Hyatt Regency in Barcelona. That's a category 3. So 12,000 points per night is standard pricing. I haven't looked into these 2 hotels enough, but what I will do, and I'm sure Jess and my mom would probably be doing the same thing, there is a Hyatt Globalist Facebook group. So if you are a Hyatt Globalist member, you can get into this private Facebook group, and I will look up what other people are saying about these hotels to decide which one we should stay at. Off the top of my head, most of the time I say, okay, what one's the most expensive one? That's probably the nicest one. But occasionally people will prefer the cheaper one might be in a better location and it might have really great service. And so we'll kind of have to figure out which one will be the best for our stay. And then one other thing we still need to do is just decide on our itinerary, like how many nights at each place. Do we want to go to another place in Spain like Seville or Costa Brava? And so that's something that will be determined, but we have a while. So anyway, that was a really fun one to be able to look forward to for next spring.
So I'm voting on Costa Brava. I mean, I love Seville. I've been to Seville. I just haven't been to Costa Brava. So I'm like, okay, going somewhere that I haven't been, unless you guys are like, if we have to go to Seville, then, I've been to both Madrid and Barcelona, and I really like them. So it would be kind of fun to go somewhere that I haven't been on this trip. So just putting my
Well, it'll
vote
be
out
my
there.
first time to Spain. And Jess, will be yours too?
See.
You're ready already.
You're already working on that Spanish. Okay, so funny thing is, my last trip that I booked, actually, I just got back from Alex's watching her boys while she was in Greece. And so I had some time to daydream. I actually almost booked one trip and then ended up booking another trip. And both of these two were inspired by a newsletter. The first one that I almost booked was alert came from Straight to the Points. I get their newsletter, his newsletter alert, and it had some Emirates deals to Athens. And Alex was already in Athens. And I'm thinking, I'm going to Greece. We're talking about tomorrow. I'm going to Greece. By the time this airs, I will be back. But I'm already looking forward to my next trip to Greece. I love Greece. And there's plenty of islands I want to visit. And I thought, okay, I'd like to go to Naxos and Milos. And so I saw this alert going to Athens. And I thought, that looks great. I'm going to book that. And I actually transferred points from Capital One to Emirates, booked it. Then I looked at my calendar. Spoiler alert, look at your calendar before you book. And I realized I had booked it for the same time as our Spain trip. So I had to cancel that.
Spain? No. It was the same as your Bora Bora trip, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe that was it.
Yes, it was.
Might have been Bora Bora. This story gets worse. So then I thought, okay, it's going to take a while for my points to come back. I am going to transfer some more points from Capital One into Emirates, and I'm going to book up for a different date. Well, that date clashed with our Spain trip. So I had 2 trips booked, and I'm getting points back. Not a problem. That's the great thing with points and miles. But I need to update my calendar under the regular from now on. So anyway, there is not a trip yet to Greece for next year. But
you have your points in Emirates, so when you're ready to book when the next
and I love
next
Emirates.
time
So that's not going to be a problem. So in the meantime, I got an alert from Thrifty Traveler Premium, just what Alex was talking about, or is it Thrifty Premium Travel? No, yeah, Thrifty Traveler Premium, about some deals to Thailand. And one of my son-in-laws has said that we need to do a couples trip, all of our siblings, their spouses, and us, and go to Thailand. When you're working with a really large group, that is really hard to pinpoint everybody down. So I thought, okay, this looks great. This was on Cathay Pacific for 84,000 miles in business class and multiple cities that you could, position to and travel to Bangkok in. So I thought, this is great. We're going to do this. So I send everybody the information. And in the meantime, I get ready to book mine. And I go, wait, Singapore also goes there. And I have a stash of points sitting in Singapore that eventually are going to expire. So rather than transfer my points over to Cathay Pacific, I will go with Singapore. So I had booked mine on Singapore to Bangkok. It was 107,000 points. I could have done a free stopover in Singapore, but as you know from our previous podcast, Jess, Alex, and I went to Singapore, and I didn't think I needed to go back right away. So I had booked that. Mind you, nobody else has booked their tickets yet. Alex?
Wait a second. Hold on. Let me tell you what she did. She said, she chose the date. She said, this is the date and we'll go till this date. Well, do you know what happens 4 days after the date she said we would come home? We go to Costa Rica. So I will come home from Thailand, be home 4 days, and then go to Costa Rica. And that is a really quick turnaround with like jet lag. And the biggest thing is my husband is supposed to go on both of those trips. So to go and be gone for 10 days in Thailand, come home for 4 days, and then take 7 days off back to back is going to be very tricky. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make that work. And well, here's the real kicker. She's going to Costa Rica with me. And she's like, I don't need to, I don't know how you have the energy at 71 years old to go to go to Thailand for 10 days, be home for 4 days, and then go to another country. Just crossing continents.
Pam, if you would just adopt me, I would have booked it. I mean, you would have booked it, and then 5 minutes later, I would have booked it. So
would Ted have been like, okay, no problem?
No, he wouldn't be able to.
3 weeks
No,
of work.
he can't. He definitely can't miss 10 days in the middle of the semester. So it would have just been me by myself.
Yeah, and that's what could potentially happen.
Anyway, so long story short, I've got mine booked. I do have one daughter that's ready to book her. So there's at least going to be 4 of us. The plan of mine is to do Cathay Pacific home. But when I did my Capital One transfers, Capital One thought that it was fraud. So they called last week and said, oh, we think there's fraud. I go, nope, there's no fraud. I explained to them what I do and that I was crazy and, hadn't looked at my calendar. I just said, no fraud. And they said, well, we need you to send us your driver's license front and back. Send it to them immediately. They says, keep your phone on. We'll have someone call. We'll let you know when you get back into your account. It is now Sunday. I think this happened Thursday. I still can't get back into my account.
So hold on, back up.
I'm so bugged because it's my account. It's my points. It's my money. I told you there's no fraud and you're holding my account hostage. So I can't get in there to book my flight from Cathay Pacific home. And I wanted to use Cathay Pacific because I do have points sitting in that account. I just want to add to some from my Capital One account.
And all of this is from the Emirates flights because you transferred to Emirates and then a few minutes later you transferred again and then you're trying to transfer to Cathay.
So any of you listeners out there, beat yourself up because you make a mistake sometimes. Just know that I've been doing this for a long time. I have earned and redeemed millions of points and I still goof. So give yourself some grace and just say yourself, Pam still goofs. So it's all good. It will all work out.
So funny, Mom.
So anyway, that's what I was doing when I was watching your boys while they were swimming. So as far as hotels, my plan is that we're flying into Bangkok. We'd probably stay just a couple nights in Bangkok. I've stayed there before. I enjoy the city, but there's not that much to do. But there is a Park Hyatt there. So hopefully my kids all have lots of Hyatt points. And then we'd probably go to Phuket and stay 3 nights there. And I've stayed at the Hyatt Regency there, and it's a really nice hotel. I enjoyed it then. And then Alex and I have long wanted to go to Koh Samui. There is a Hilton Conrad there, and it's about 90,000 or 95,000. I think I just looked today. Hilton points a night, so we can use free night certificates that we have there. But I also heard someone say that they felt like the room was a little dated. So I've got to do a little bit more research. We could always stay at the Hyatt Regency there too. It looked gorgeous. I looked at that just before we got on. So anyway, that is my very convoluted tale of the last trip that I booked. Okay, Jess, I know yours isn't going to be as convoluted. Go for it.
I do not have any, I'm not locked out of any accounts. No banks think that I committed fraud. So I am starting off on slightly better foot than Pam. So the best thing about points and miles is like you go on a bucket list trip and then you love it so much that you're like, I want to go back. So it's not really a bucket list trip anymore if it's like you go every year. But that is Bora Bora for me. So I just got back from Bora Bora a month ago. And as soon as I got back, I set alerts to get emails when more availability opened up for the Conrad Bora Bora, because that is a difficult property to find availability at. They tend to release it in batches. And so it's like, if you know that they've released a batch, it's easy. You just snap it up and you're good to go. But they're not as predictable as someone like Hyatt, who releases 13 months in advance. You kind of can know when your date's coming up. It's not really that way with this Hilton property. And so I got an alert that they released like all of May 2025.
Where did you set up your
I
alert? Because I
set
bet
it
people are
up.
wondering, like, how did you do that?
I set it up through Max My Point. And so I pay for the Pro, I think the Platinum. I don't know. I get all like the names of all the services confused, but the paid
I think it's
version,
pro with
the paid version of Max My Point, and it's $7.99 a month, so pretty reasonable. And I use it a lot. It's, if you're only using it like once a year, then probably not worth it. But I use this service frequently. And so I got an email that said, Conrad Bora Bora has added new dates, and it lists all the dates. And it was basically the entire month of May 2025.
So I have a really good hotel alert program too. It's called Hotel Alert by Jet. And
it's
in other
free.
words, and it's free. Just let me know that there was availability. So guess who also is staying 5 nights, and some of our nights are overlapping. So
I
yes,
think like 4 of our
have a
nights are
great-
overlapping.
They're basically going on the trip together, but not.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw that email, I opened up the Hilton website to confirm that it was true, and it was. And so I immediately sent a screenshot to Alex and Pam and said, Conrad's wide open. I also posted it on our Instagram stories and in our Facebook group. And so if you're not in our Facebook group, or if you don't follow our stories, then you should, because that's where we share when availability like this opens up. I immediately just booked 5 nights at the Conrad. So with Hilton, if you have silver, gold, or diamond status, you get the 5th night free. And so the standard award nights at the Conrad are 120,000 points a night, but I am a Hilton Diamond member, and so I got 5 nights for 480,000 Hilton points. I don't remember, Pam. I sent you what the cash rate. I looked up like, okay, if I were booking the cash rate today, and I think it was $16,000 for those 5 nights. And so we're talking incredible value with the 5th night free and with Hilton points at these aspirational properties. It is pretty easy to get status with Hilton. Even the Hilton credit card, the Amex Hilton card that doesn't have the annual fee, comes with silver status. So even if you just got like the most basic Hilton card, you would have the status that you need in order to get the 5th night free. But you can also have like the Surpass card, the Aspire card. If you have an Amex Platinum or Amex Business Platinum, you get Hilton Gold status with those. So any of those cards is going to get you the status necessary to get the 5th night free. I am taking Ella, my stepdaughter Ella, on this trip, and possibly Olivia also. So I booked it for 3 people. Ella is definitely coming. Ever since we went last time, she was like, I have to go to Bora Bora. Like, that looked amazing. And then Olivia's going to kind of play it by ear. We already booked our flights to Tahiti. So we are flying Air France Premium Economy from LAX to Tahiti. And for Premium Economy, it was 40,000 miles on Air France plus $129 a person in taxes. So it was 80,000 miles total for both of us and $258 in taxes. Economy was 27,500 miles. I'm curious what you would have done, Alex. Would you have splurged the 40,000 miles for Premium Economy? The flight leaves at midnight. So
Yeah, 100%.
and then business, I mean, obviously business class would have been my preference, but that was like 150,000 miles a person. So that was just a no way, no how is that happening. So the nice part,
No, I think you made a great choice.
yeah, the nice part is that the nice part of it leaving at midnight is I don't have to stay overnight in LA. We're both just going to fly into LA that afternoon, meet in LA, and then, our flight leaves at midnight and hopefully we'll just go right to sleep on the plane. The other nice thing about Air France is that all 4 major banks transfer to Air France. And so it is pretty easy to rack up Air France miles. I actually created a Flying Blue family account. Ella has a couple of credit cards that I've gotten her. She just turned 24. So she has been collecting points and miles, I think since she was around 21 is when she kind of got serious about it. So she has a pretty big chunk of Chase points. And so I created a Flying Blue family. You can do that for up to 2 adults and 6 children per family. So I added her to my family. She transferred 40,000 points from Chase to Flying Blue. And then those appeared in our family account, and I was able to book flights for both of us. I transferred 40,000 points from Amex. So it's kind of cool that like I transferred my 40,000 from Amex. She transferred her 40,000 from Chase. They went into our family account, and then I was able to book the flights for both of us. So we're on the same flight, same confirmation number, everything. I have not.
Yeah, that's super
Yeah,
nice.
I have not booked our return flights yet because our dates aren't even open yet. But I am hopefully going to book United from Tahiti to San Francisco. I've been like kind of doing some test bookings, and I think it's going to be around 30,000 miles per person in economy. United also has a pooling option now, which is nice. So you can add up to 5 people to your pool. The only catch is you have to wait 72 hours after adding someone to your pool to be able to actually add miles or redeem miles. So I encourage you, if you frequently fly United, get your pool created, add your people so that when you're ready to actually make your redemptions, you're not in that like 72-hour waiting period. And then, like I said, we're going to do 5 nights at the Conrad with Hilton points. We land in Tahiti at 5:30 in the morning. And so I actually booked 1 night at the Hilton Tahiti using Hilton points for like the first night that we get there. That was 80,000 Hilton points. And then 480,000 for the 5 nights at the Conrad. And yeah, I am excited and can't believe I'm going back again a year later. And then Pam will be there. So maybe we can get some like reels of Pam dancing on the overwater, like the deck of the overwater villa. That is my goal.
Please do get that.
I better take lesson.
Pam's like, I'm going to cancel my dates and hope that other ones open up that aren't when Jess is there.
No, that sounds amazing. And I was very tempted to book this as well. But my 2020, like I already said before, I want to go and take my husband because I've been here before. I went with my mom and my sister. And so the next time I go, I have to take him. But like I said, he's already missing too much work to go on trips next year. And I'm like, man, your job's really getting in the way of things here.
Your job is cramping my style.
Yeah, I guess you got to work though. So anyway, I'm hoping to do this maybe May or June 2026 is what I'm thinking. So do you just have this saved on your radar?
I do.
on your Max My
I
Point?
do.
Okay. Because here's the thing, you guys. Like Jess said, she'll announce it to. I mean, she's going to book hers first, but then she will put it out there and let people know. So make sure you're. I think, I feel like this time, think we put it in our newsletter that it had
No, because
availability.
so it happened on a Monday, and then by the time
Oh,
our
it was on a
newsletter went out
Monday.
on Friday, like most of the dates were already
It was
gone.
gone.
I think they did last a few days though, because there were still people on like Wednesday and Thursday messaging us saying, I booked it. So, Pam, I wouldn't be surprised if there are several other Travel Mom Squad followers who are there at the same
Hey,
time as we
we'll
are
have a little
because,
meetup.
yeah, we're gonna have like a little impromptu Bora Bora meetup.
Well, anyways, next time, let me
All
know
right.
so I can, when you get this alert, so I can book it. Oh, and make sure you're following us. Did you shared it somewhere? Was it
I
on
shared it in
Facebook?
stories and on Facebook. So, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, make sure you're following because Jess will share the goods when she gets that alert. You can get the hotels by Jess alerts as well. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about the next trip that we're thinking of booking. And spoiler, I actually booked it right before we hopped on this call. Like I had my notes here of, okay, I'm going to share about this trip that I'm going to book, and I already booked it. Sometimes I just get like carried away. I get thinking about it, and I'm like, I get like OCD, one track mind, where it's in my mind. I just got to do it now, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. And so that is what happened. I know I have no clue where I inherited that from. Doesn't sound like anybody I know. So I was thinking about it. I wrote the notes and I was like, I just want to get this done. So I did it. So what's happening, like my mom said, we were just in Greece. I just actually got home yesterday. And honestly, my brain feels like really weird because of jet lag and time change stuff. So hopefully I'm making sense today because I feel a little off. But after Greece, we went to London and stayed with my sister for a couple of days. And that has been something that for a long time I've been like, I need to take my kids there. Like, I don't know how long they'll live there. And so I just want to make sure we get out there and visit her kids, have my kids go and spend time with her kids. And so we talked about, what would be some good dates that we could come that your kids are available where they don't have school and my kids don't have school where they can, see the sights and do fun stuff together. So I booked a trip for the fall, for fall break. All 6 of us were actually going to be flying into Amsterdam. There's a direct flight on KLM from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam. I booked us economy. The price was unbelievable. Like we're flying KLM. It was $20,000 for me, Mitch, and my oldest, who's 12. And then my other 3, because Air France has the 25% discount on award flights for kids 2 to 11, they were only $15,000 one-way direct flight from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam, which is, I mean, I can't even fly 15,000 points to somewhere in the United States. Like, that's wild. Like, so cheap. So 105,000 points for all 6 of us to fly direct to Amsterdam. So we're going to spend a couple of days there. And then we're going to go to London. And I booked us in Amsterdam. I booked us at the Hyatt Regency Amsterdam. I booked 2 rooms, and that's where we'll be staying. I know Jess has stayed there and really liked it. And so I think it'll be a great place for us to stay. It'll be really nice. And yeah, we're excited for that. And then when we go to London, we're going to stay with my sister. So we'll have we get really lucky there. I don't have to use points or pay for an Airbnb because it'd be hard to find a hotel for all of us. I'd have to get 2 rooms again. And so it's nice to not have to be like, oh, I'm going to be getting all these hotel rooms in Europe for a whole week. That'd be a lot of points. And so we're really happy that we get to go and stay with them. So coming home, we're flying Delta, a direct flight on Delta from London to Salt Lake City. And that was, I'm trying to remember how much that one was. If I were to book it on Delta, it was going to be 60,000 miles per person. So I went to Virgin Atlantic and they had this same exact Delta flight for 20,000 points.
That's amazing.
So literally I'm getting 3 flights for the price of 1 because I booked it through Virgin Atlantic instead of Delta. So that's just crazy. Like so good. So we're paying 120,000 total for the 6 of us to fly home, and that's an economy as well. And yeah, so the really nice thing, so I booked through Air France going there, Virgin Atlantic coming home. Both of those are transfer partners of all 4 banks, so really easy to earn points with all of them. The really crazy thing is the cash flight of our Delta flight was over $1,000 a person. I think that well over 1,000 for just the one-way flight. I looked it up on Google Flights, the exact same flight, and this I actually think was probably like basic economy, was like $9,300. And we got it for 120,000 points. And then it was like 150 pounds in taxes, but that's you're going to have that flying out of London regardless. So I felt really good about that redemption of 120,000 points for like a $9,000 worth of flight. So we're really excited, and I'm really glad that I was able to get direct flights for us both ways, because just traveling with kids, doing red-eye flight there and not having to worry about doing a transfer, we can just get to Amsterdam, stay a couple of days, get used to the time zone or, all of that. And then by the time we go to London, we'll be feeling great and can just enjoy time with cousins and family. So we're really excited about
That sounds great. That's amazing.
Okay, Mom.
Okay. So
You had mentioned, you had alluded to your trip after Spain. So what are you going to do?
Okay. So I have wanted to go visit Mallorca for a long time. I hear it's gorgeous. I sat on a plane by someone one time and he was telling me all about it and showing me pictures. I was like, oh, I need to go there some. Well, since we're going to be in Spain and we would be coming home from Spain like right before my birthday, that I don't want to come home and have my birthday. I want to have it somewhere else. So I talked to my daughter, Lindsay, that lives in London, and said, do you think you'd be available around there to come and go somewhere with me? And so the plan probably is that we will go to Mallorca. I haven't booked my flight home from Spain yet because just need to figure this all out. We're way far ahead of the game, so I'm not too worried about that. And I haven't decided whether after Mallorca I'll go to London for a few days and visit grandkids, or if I'll be there shortly after that anyway. But that's my trip that I have on the radar to book. I did look to see what Hyatt hotels they have, and there were quite a few. There's a Dreams, there's a Secrets, there's a Zoetry. So those 3 are all inclusive. I'm really picky about my all-inclusive, so I'm going to have to do a lot more checking into that. And then they do have some Mr. and Mrs. Smiths. And I actually checked into the prices since I know that that's going to be dynamic price. And they were about $300 a night. So that wasn't too bad. I would maybe just pay cash, then use points. Anyway, that is the trip that's on my radar. That's the trip that I'll probably book. I just have to work on it a little bit more. So, Jess, what's the trip that's on your radar to book?
Oh, and Jess's trip will probably have to be in like 2028 because he's probably booked out till then.
No, I'm actually okay.
Yeah,
So I'm
she's
booked.
really booked out.
I'm booked through May 2024 currently. So
You mean 2025?
I mean 2025. So I'm booked through May 2025.
I was like 2024. Just we're past that.
No, so I'm booked through like Bora Bora is what I'm booked through, which is in May 2025. So the next,
I am too, Jess.
I know, but I also have trips in like January, February, March, April that you may not have. But
I think I pretty much do.
Catching up with
I
me,
may have
Pam.
Yeah.
So the next trip I have to figure out is like our big summer trip, the the whole family of 6. So I was thinking about this earlier. I'm actually planning to talk to the family this week. We're on our way to Chicago right now. And so I got to talk. Okay, the thing is, it's difficult to travel with young kids. Like every stage has its challenges, but the biggest challenge with older kids is they don't know what they're going to be doing a year from now. They like with younger kids, it's like, okay, you're going to be on summer break. You're going to be out of school. I have the entire summer to like plan where you're going to be. But in my case, it's like my stepson's going to be a freshman in college. So he's going to be between his freshman and sophomore years. Olivia's going to be between her junior and senior years in college. Ella's good. Ella's like, I work remotely. I can go wherever. So we know Ella will be in, but it's hard to the other two are like, am I going to be in town? Am I going to be hanging out with my friends? Am I going to be doing study abroad somewhere? I just don't know what their situation is going to be a year from now. And so I kind of just leave it up to them and say, here's what we're planning. Here's the dates. Do you want to commit to this? So that's what we're doing. I'm leaning towards Ireland or Iceland or Ireland and Iceland, a little bit of both. That is my current top choice, but I am in much earlier stages than Alex. Like I will not be booking this trip when we get off this call. This is going to require a little bit more thought and planning. But yeah, so we would probably fly to Chicago and then go on an Iceland Air from here to Iceland, have a stopover there for a couple of days, and then go on to Dublin. I can get that for 27,500 Alaska miles in economy, which is a steal.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, it's just it's amazing. And we don't ever fly Alaska, but there was a really good deal last year on the Alaska business cards. And so I went ahead and opened one for me. I opened one for Ted. And I was like, we're just going to stock these miles away for a rainy day. It's a business card. It doesn't count towards 524. And here we are. Like, this is an amazing way to use these miles. So that's the current plan that I'm going to be pushing for. There's a Hilton in Reykjavik and a Hyatt Centric in Dublin that I've been looking at. So yeah, that's kind of my loose plan that I will be presenting to the family and getting their opinions on.
Well, that is exciting though, because you're going to be getting their opinions here in the next few days. And then you can start planning. And I want you to do this one because none of us have been to Iceland and we need you to tell us about Iceland.
I'll take one for
The people want to know, Jess. The people
I
wanna
will
know.
take one for the team and go to Iceland.
So, everyone, we hope that you've enjoyed hearing about some of the trips that we've booked recently. We love hearing about your points and miles trips. Our Facebook group, tons of people share with us the trips that they have gone on. So if you're looking for inspiration, if you'd like to share some of the trips you've taken, please join our Travel Mom Squad Facebook group and come share with us some of the points and mile trips that you have booked or where you'd like to go.
Thanks so much for listening to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad. Make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button from wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Want to start jet setting even faster? Follow the links in the show notes to learn about everything we discussed in today's episode. And to stay connected and follow along, follow us on Instagram at Travel Mom Squad. We can't wait to see where in the world points and miles take you.